we've been looking forward to. And we look at Dorian Ramos, 28 years old, 5'7", 145 pounds. He is 3-0, taking on the 25-year-old, 3 years the younger, 5'9", 2 inches on his opponent, 145 pounds, and he is 4-1. 7 wins and only 1 loss between these two. This is going to be a great fight. And we go from the bigger guys down to the featherweights, 145 pounds. What are you fighting at right now, Feely?
I fight at featherweight, 145 pounds. I fight at featherweight myself.
Absolutely, I knew it, and that's why when you're watching these young guys come up, do you see a lot of yourself in some of these guys?
Yeah, I just like to see the progression of the sport. I like to see these guys young and hungry and creating opportunities, man. As a kid who I didn't have a plan B, this was it for me. I'd like to see kids carve their own path, come in here and make it happen and chase their dreams. You know, that's what I love to see.
And Dorian Ramos, I met this kid at weigh-ins, and he was one of the nicer kids that I had met throughout the weekend. And he was just really super friendly. He was super happy to be here. And, you know, coming in 3-0, he's undefeated. And 28 years old, undefeated on UFC Fight Pass is a pretty good place to be in your MMA career.
Definitely it is. When you're coming off that, when you still have that when everyone you've been locked in the cage with, you've beaten, the confidence that you have coming into every fight is huge, and it's a huge benefit to have that confidence as he steps in the cage here tonight.
It's a huge benefit to have the O, but how much does it work against you that everybody's got that target on your back? They're gunning for that O. Nobody wants to see someone else go undefeated when they're not undefeated. They want to take that O from you.
Yes, sir. That's true. But I think coming off 3 wins, I think coming off 3 wins, being so young, being so early, I think he's going to come in here with some real confidence. Like, he's going to feel on top of the world as he steps in here, and that can be a superpower. That can be a real asset when you're in this cage, to just have that feeling like no one in the world can beat me.
And that's a great feeling to have, you know, and it's a great confidence to have. When I was talking to him yesterday, he was telling me basically that he just wants to get in the cage and he wants to beat his opponent up and hurt him, but he also wants the fans to want him to be a champion. So he didn't say, I want to become a champion like most people say. He said, I want the fans to say, we want this kid to be a champion. And here comes the Bulldog, and he is loved in the Northern California fight scene. 4-1. I mean, let's not sleep on that record. He's only lost 1 time.
No, he's an incredibly talented kid. I've watched him grow from a literal child into the man he is now, and he is one of the most technical, most exciting prospects I've ever seen.
And he is 3 years younger than Ramos, and 4-1, 5'9", but he comes out of Team Alpha Male again, another Uriah Faber trained fighter, and I'm sure you've rolled with this guy a bunch of times. I see you over here, you're getting the prey on. It's your teammate. It's okay, you're not being biased. It's okay to want your teammate to win. And how many times have you trained with this guy?
Bulldog has become one of my main training partners. I have so much love for this kid, and I love to see him in here and competing and shining under the bright lights. I think this kid has an incredibly bright future in front of him, and I can't wait to see what he does. He's been training for months for this fight. He's been dedicated. He's stayed the course, and I think he's going to be the best version of himself that we've seen tonight. This kid's literally been in the gym since he was 8 or 9 years old. So we talk about a guy that's kind of come up being trained by Faber. I mean, this is the kid. He's literally been on Team Alpha Male since he was in grade school.
And he's 25 years old, and he's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is no small process, you know. So this is going to be a good fight. Ramos taking on Coyne, and we are local here to Sacramento, and both these guys love. So let's get up to Garrett Fertig and get the official announcement to get this one started.
Uriah Faber's A1 Combat Series now presents our featured bout of the evening, scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. And it's presented by Fogo de Minas, the #1 Brazilian steakhouse in Sacramento. And now introducing first, the blue corner. At 5 feet 7 inches tall, his official weight 140 pounds, 5 pounds even. with an undefeated professional record of 3 wins and no losses, representing Apex MMA, by way of Sonora, Mexico, he fights out of Tucson, Arizona, the pride of Sonora, Mexico, Dorian Ramos. And now, introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. At 5 feet and 9 inches tall, he also weighed in at an even 145 pounds. With a record of 4 wins and 1 loss, representing Team Alpha Male, and fighting out of Sacramento, California, Andrew the Bully Coyne. Your referee, Herb Dean.
So it's actually Andrew the Bulldog Coyne, and he is taking on Dorian Ramos. No nickname needed for Dorian Ramos. And the legend Herb Dean in the cage. And I'll run it down for you guys quickly. 25 years old, 5'9", 145 pounds, 4-1 for the Bulldog. And Dorian Ramos, 28 years old, 5'7", 145, 3-0. And I think I gave you that, guys, earlier, but I'll give it to you one more time as we get
Dorian
this one started, because this is going to be fast-paced. Single leg immediately there, Andre.
Nice roll through by Dorian Ramos. That fireman's carry off the single. And we've seen Dorian Ramos before use this top pressure, and he's given a lot of guys problems with it. He's got great top pressure. He drives forward. He stays heavy on the hips.
He's almost stacking him up. I mean, at all times, he never really slows down. Like you said, that pressure on the hips, it's almost like a wrestler stacking him up constantly.
Yeah, he's constantly trying to put pressure and get head high and hips high so that Bulldog's options are limited. He's just constantly stuck under him.
Talk to me a little bit, Andre, about that position right now that your teammate's in. When your head's up against the cage, the guy is driving that pressure into you and landing shots. What can he do to get out of this?
Yeah, what Bulldog's going to need to do is use those butterfly hooks. If you look at his left leg, he's got a butterfly hook. He's going to need to use butterfly hooks and frames with feet on the hips and start getting motion with his hips to start creating some space so that he can get back up and out of this position.
And what a lot of people at home don't really realize, when you're on your back, you don't just want to lay flat. You want to be able to move hip to hip. You want to keep moving. Otherwise, your opponent has such an easy spot to come down and land shots.
No, the best way to think about it is like a brick and a ball, right? The least amount of surface area as possible. If you try to slide a brick with your foot, it doesn't go anywhere. It's flat on the ground. If you have a ball, there's almost no surface area. You bump it with your foot and it goes rolling. So you want to be in a ball at all times. You either want to be on one shoulder or one hip, low back. You never want to be back flat on the mat. You want as little surface area as possible.
That might be the best analogy I've ever gotten from a color guy in my life.
Thank you. I appreciate
Andre,
I stole it from Gary Tonin, but I'll never give him credit for it. I'll never give Gary Tonin credit, but I stole it from him. I'll just pretend it's mine.
There you guys go. High-level commentary from a high-level fighter, UFC Zone, Andre Touchy-Feely. And that was a great analogy. I'm stealing it back from you, so now it'll just go around the horn.
That's how it goes. Don't ever give me credit. That's the only way.
And you talked about it right in the beginning, how he constantly uses this pressure. And you know what? He has not stopped in this entire round.
He's done a great job keeping his head and his hips high. If you look at Ramos's head and hips, they're constantly floating above Bulldog's. He's never hanging back. He's never sagging back. He's never sitting. His hips sat back. Now Bulldog's looking to create a scramble here by scooping that leg, but he's got to be careful that his arm doesn't get pinned because he needs it to defend himself.
So he passed, but he's sort of still...
Well, Bulldog's still got his knees in front,
right.
So he hasn't technically passed yet. If he gets past Bulldog's legs, then he'll be passed, but Bulldog's going to use this to sort of funk roll into a single and at least get some kind of defense going here.
Good call, and he is shooting for that single right now. Little ankle pick action, but still ending up on top.
Ramos's defense to this single has been good so far, and Bulldog hasn't given up on it.
And I've got you back in my headset, so I like that. So Ramos continues to apply pressure, and Andrew Coyne continues to try to use that leg to get some leverage.
What Andrew's going to have to do is use that single leg as a first attempt and then cut back to a double, because right now Ramos has done a good job stopping that initial single leg.
Yeah, Ramos showing some great on-top grappling right now. I mean, he just looks really good on top, and Coyne having a hard time getting him off.
And now Coyne's switching. Now Coyne's switching to this high crotch, he's going to have a little more luck here. Now that he's got his hips elevated, he's going to have to start cutting different angles and testing his balance, because if you see Ramos's left foot, he's still got some traction on the edge of that cage.
How hard is Dorian Ramos to take down? I mean,
what I'm interested to see is how both these young men come back into the second. Who has the better grappling cardio?
Yeah, because I mean, Coyne is carrying his weight the entire time, trying to get out from underneath this, but at the same time, having to move around and apply that pressure is not an easy task for Dorian Ramos.
And now Bulldog switched to the double, and this will be easier when he gets his hands locked to finish this takedown on the cage.
This is exactly what you said he needed to do just moments ago, and again, still Dorian Ramos manages to pop right back up.
Dorian Ramos, he's got a really dense frame, and he uses it really well in these defensive grappling exchanges.
Guys, you are watching A1 Combat live from the Kumi Event Center, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Sacramento. My name is Jim Cooley, the voice of champions.
Duck under there by Bulldog, and Ramos immediately starts pestering him with that switch. Ramos has done such a good job actively switching every single time he gets in trouble, but now we talked about surface area. Now look at how much of the legs and hips of Ramos are on the ground now.
Right.
The more surface area, the less athletic you are.
And this is the best position that Coyne's been in this entire round.
And so what's going to be interesting to see is how they come out in the second. Who comes out fresher? Who's ready to grapple? Who's
got the attrition? And the other voice you guys hear is that of Andre Feely, UFC fighter. And I want to make sure that you guys are voting tonight for Fight of the Night. We'll have a QR code that will bounce up on the screen from time to time, and we need you at home to cooperate and vote so we can figure out who you guys think should be that Fight of the Night. Brought to you by Cap City Honda here in Sacramento, as we see the lovely Kimber walking the cage to let us know it'll be round number 2. Shout out to our ring girls, Kimber, Whitney, and Kayla. And you can find them on Instagram. I believe we will show their handles a little bit later on. There it is, guys, right there. Vote here for the Capital City Honda Fight of the Night. Just use your phone to scan that QR code at Cap City Honda, and you can vote for tonight's Fight of the Night. And both fighters will receive $1,000 courtesy of Capital City Honda for being involved in Fight of the Night. Here we go, round number 2. Dorian Ramos in white, black trunks belonging to Andrew the Bulldog Coyne of Team Alpha Male. And I got to give that first round to Dorian Ramos, Andre.
I do as well, yeah. And I'm very interested to see how these guys come out. Both guys look really fresh, which tells you how much they prepared for this. Both guys still have a lot of bounce in their step. They're still snapping their punches.
And that's what you were talking about. Come out, see who's going to come out with the most energy, but they both look like it's round number 1 right now. Both
guys look very fresh, very sharp, and I think Bulldog actually needs to get back to using some more of that striking. He looked like he had a striking edge there, and I think that Dorian has proven he has a little bit of a wrestling edge, a positional grappling edge. He's
got 1 hook in already. He's got the back. He's got 2 hooks in and the back. Not a good spot for Andrew Coyne.
No, this is not a good spot to be in, especially with Dorian's top pressure that we've seen through the rest of this, the early parts of this fight.
Yeah, he had a hard enough time getting out from underneath him when he was in half guard or side mount, side control, but now he's got his back with 2 hooks in. He's going to flatten him out here.
What Bulldog's going to need to do is not get flattened out and start clearing those hooks. Right here, Dorian Ramos is doing a good job of what's called diagonal control. So he's got both hooks, actually. He's got both hooks and a far arm controlled. So he controls the entire space of Bulldog's body.
And look at this. Andrew Coyne manages to take his back, but coming out the back door is Dorian. He got a little too high there, Andre.
That's the problem when you fight out of a bad position, you get to a good position, and then you just get too excited and you don't have any hooks and you fall off. Those hooks are crucial to staying on the back.
And Ramos continues to dominate that top position, although Coyne had a flash of brilliance there as he was managed to sweep and get the back of Ramos, and now it looks like he may do it again. Now, will he make the mistake of going too high so quickly?
This time Coyne inserts a hook, so he already has 1 more hook than he had before. It seems like he learned his lesson on that when he's keeping his hips back, and now he can work from here and be patient.
I love those elbows to the quads. How do those just annoy you, or do they at some point begin to hurt?
I'm sure at some point they begin to hurt. I've never felt them to the degree where they really hurt. They're more of an annoyance for me, but you know, it's not fun. It's not fun getting elbowed in the quad, that's for sure.
Ramos looking to turn in on him here.
This is what Bulldog needs to do. He needs to slow this fight down here. He needs to make it a technical fight.
Little things show you that guy has a collegiate wrestling or high school wrestling background when he reached down and grabbed that ankle and pulled it in. I mean, just those little things will show you that this is a wrestler in addition to a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, what Ramos has done so well this fight is be stingy. We call it being stingy. Every single position, he's just fighting for every single inch. He's not giving Coyne any room to breathe or work any of his tricks. Beautiful X guard entry by Coyne to come out the back door. And he's going to hunt the back here now. If he can extend those legs, he's going to hunt the back.
Now, what does it behoove him to do here? Go for well, he's going to stand up and go for a takedown. So, what would have been better, go for a leg or go for a back there?
No, so to take the back would have been the safest option. His opponent did a good job defending it. Ramos defended it, and so he opted to take this double leg high crotch position rather on the fence, which is better than being on bottom.
Dorian Ramos continues to throw strikes and score in the judge's eyes, but here's a takedown now, although if he pops right back up, they won't score the takedown. However, Andrew Coyne immediately takes the back. He's got one hook in, Andre. He's going to look for that second hook, although I think he's content to stay locked where he is right now and not lose this position.
If you see the adjustment he made, he went double underhooks, which is what kept him. He went from a seatbelt over the shoulder to double underhooks around the body lock. That's what kept him on this position. Now he's going to power half and try to chop that top hook in.
Oftentimes you see guys when they get the back, they immediately go for the choke and the hooks. And when you move that quickly, sometimes you can get swept or get reversed. And he didn't. He took his time, like you said, and he was methodical with his movement. And now he can stay in this position a little longer. And you hear the Bulldog chant.
He's power halfing, and he's gonna try to force Ramos. He's gonna try to force Ramos.
At some point, is he gonna want to put that left hook in?
He will, but right now he's using that what's called a high ball ride, where he's got one hook in and one hook over the high point of his opponent's hips, and that's what's helping him power half to break Ramos's position down.
You guys are hearing the amazing technical analysis of Andre Touchy-Feely, UFC 145-pounder out of Team Alpha Male here in Sacramento, joining me in the booth as we watch Dorian Ramos try to get out from underneath Andrew the Bulldog Coyne in round number 2. Just 17 seconds remain, short time. That got the crowd pumped. They thought he had him there for a second.
He's done a great job hunting that neck. The thing is, when you're hunting the neck and the opponent's worried about getting choked, they're not worried about clearing hooks. They're not worried about escaping, right? So the more you make them think about being strangled, the less they think about escaping, right? So it seems counterintuitive, but the more you hunt the finish, the better the control will be.
Now, I don't want to interrupt you, Andre, but you were talking earlier about efficiency of energy and who was going to get more tired. As I look at Dorian Ramos, he looks like the more tired fighter at this moment. Now, Andrew didn't look fresh when he walked back to his corner, but he looked much better than Dorian, who immediately grabbed the cage, put a foot up, and looked like he wanted to be anywhere but in there at that moment.
Yeah, that was a pretty telltale thing. These small body language cues can tell you a lot about a guy. Obviously, both these guys are keeping poker faces right now, but there's small body language that can tell you a lot about where a fighter's mental state is. And to me, Coyne looked like the much fresher fighter.
Absolutely. As he walked back to his corner, I thought he looked amazingly fresh for this going into the third round. And these guys have been grappling the entire time with no breaks in between. No rest at all for either one of these fighters. Now, I want to see if we can get some striking going. You talked earlier about how you thought Coyne looked better on the feet. Now let's see if he can employ some of that, or if Dorian's going to immediately shoot for another takedown. Head kick out of the box for the Bulldog. Goes for a knee.
And Bulldog bouncing around. He's using a lot of tricky stand-up now to set up what I think will be another single leg shot once he starts landing some things standing up.
Yeah, Dorian is closing the distance slowly as he moves around the cage, and he wants that takedown. You can see it. And instead, it's Andrew who shoots the takedown.
Andrew did a great job mixing up. This is the thing. Miyamoto Musashi says, when your opponent thinks like the mountains, attack like the sea. When he thinks like the sea, attack like the mountains. We've had 10 minutes of grappling. Then you come out, you start throwing flying knees and high kicks, so your opponent goes, oh, it's time to kickbox. And immediately you shoot again.
So what we had here, and you see Herb Dean admonishing him, was Andrew Coyne was about to get a takedown, and Dorian Ramos grabbed the corner pad and was able to stop the takedown, but he was warned by Herb Dean. So that did change if he doesn't achieve a takedown now here, you can say that hand grab actually changed the momentum of this round, because he was going into the air at that moment and was most likely going to crash down to the canvas. I'm sure it wasn't intentionally get in there. You get caught in the moment and things happen.
Yeah, it's hard not to grab the cage when you're about to be slammed. You know, it's human reaction. But
nobody wants to get slammed on.
It stopped the takedown, but Andrew Coyne was able to stay in a good position. This is right where he wants to be. He's wearing him down. This is the slow, methodical, technical grappling that he's so good at. When he gets to these positions, he's just so hard to deal with.
What I like about the narrative of this fight right now is in the first round, it was Dorian who was relentless with the grappling and wouldn't let Coyne do anything. Now it's Coyne who's relentless with the grappling and won't even give Dorian a second to rest. And just as I say that, Coyne falls off and loses position.
And this is the problem with being on that back. When you get too high, you got to think about how slick someone is when it's bare chest and back. Like, we don't have shirts, we don't have gis. Guys are going to slide off the top of that. And he's really got Andrew in a precarious position here. He's going to test his flexibility. I don't think he's going to get that finish, but he's hunting that finish, and he's given
that finish is painful too.
He's given Bulldog's things to think about. And Bulldog, this is the moment we just saw here where that cardio takes over. The fact that Andrew Coyne was able to come out of that position and immediately drive to a double could be a deciding factor in this fight.
And Ramos, for his part, was trying to back up and get a little breather there. And again, efficiency of energy. And right now, the most efficient man with his energy is Andrew the Bulldog Coyne in the black trunks. And again, he loses position. And like you alluded to earlier, there's a lot of sweat, the bare-chestedness. So it's not necessarily a technique issue. It's, hey, we're in the third round. These guys have been moving.
Beautiful switch by Andrew Coyne.
And Coyne's got both hooks in now. And that's the first time we've seen this. So now he can work a little differently than when he just had the one hook in.
He's got to watch getting slammed, but he's in a... He's got to watch being slammed, but
you can,
now he's in a much safer position.
You can clearly hear the corner of Andrew Coyne. And I like that. You know, when they're not talking over the top of each other, there's not a million things being screamed at them at once. They pick one guy, and again, that's your team, Team Alpha Male. They pick one guy to be the mouthpiece, and he is giving out the instructions. You may have three guys saying, hey, tell him this, but it's one guy screaming it out. It makes it so much easier for the fighter to hear.
Clear, concise cornering is such a big deal in these, especially in these dog fights where, you know, the fight is close. There's a lot on the line. You know, it's so important to have clear, concise cornering like that.
Coyne definitely winning this third round. This is a tough fight to score, though, I have to be honest.
This is grueling.
Definitely gave the first round to Ramos. The second round could have went either way, but in this third round, it's been mostly Coyne.
And this is, I mean, these guys are scrambling. This has been nonstop.
Call that the old school front face lock right there.
Both guys, you can see now this pace is starting to take its toll, but they haven't stopped. They're still scrambling. They're still battling, and this is really this is going to come down to, I mean, one or two exchanges. This fight's going to come down to.
Absolutely, we have seen 14 minutes of this, 14 and a half.
Big moment from Coyne.
Big slam from Andrew the Bulldog Coyne, and what a way to put your stamp on this round in a very closely contested fight with just 20 seconds remaining. Very short time. He's got both hooks in again. He'll look for that rear naked. I don't know that he has the time to finish it with the sweatiness.
I think with 15 seconds left, he should ground and pound. I think he should let those hands go. I think every single thing that happens to remind the judges that you just won is important now.
I absolutely love that idea. I think you just definitely want to leave your mark at the end. And Coyne now pushing off Herb Dean. Little active there at the end, Andre Fili.
Little fired up.
I'm going to ask you, man, because normally I would be the one to say this, but I'm going to ask you who won this fight.
My opinion, Bulldog won the third, clearly. Ramos won the first, clearly. And in my opinion, Andrew Coyne won that second round, which is the swing round.
There you go. So the second round, definitely the swing round. I could go either way in round two, but I can definitely see Andrew Coyne winning round two. I definitely believe he won round three, and I for sure believe that Dorian Ramos won round one. So this is going to be close, but I'm gonna side with you this time, Andre. I won't do that very often because I don't really like you that much. But yeah, I think we're going to see an Andrew Coyne victory here tonight.
I think for those at home that may think I'm biased, I'll give you a little explanation. I probably am slightly biased, but
Wait, we're going to watch these replays real quick, and then you can explain yourself. Single leg takedown there was an ankle pick by Andrew the Bulldog Coyne, and he was immediately rolled over. And then here you see Dorian Ramos trying to work the back, and again, Coyne manages to spin around and get that single leg high crotch.
Ramos's pressure throughout this entire first round was incredible.
Yes, and you see Ramos there, but you see they're showing a lot of Coyne being able to fight out of some of those bad positions that Ramos had him in, and we're going to see a big slam here, and that was in round number 3. Right toward the end of that last round. And now I'm going to let you explain yourself about being biased on Griff Feely.
To me, the real deciding factor is who came closer to finishing the fight. And there was a lot of great exchanges. There was a lot of great exchanges, but there weren't a lot of big moments. The one big slam came from Coyne. Anytime it was close to finishing a fight or finishing a choke, it was from Coyne. Ramos had better control, but in my opinion, Coyne came closer to finishing the fight. He was constantly hunting the neck. He got a big slam. I think he did more to win.
Excellent analysis. I agree completely. Let's send it up to Garrett Furtig for our official announcement and find out who won this muchly closely contested fight.
We go to the judges for a decision. Judge 1 scores the contest 29-28 Coyne. Judge 2 scores the contest 29-28 Ramos. And Judge 3 scores the contest 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Andrew the Bulldog Coyne.
All right, listen, it was